In a village nestled between the mountains and a slow-moving river lived a young man named Ravi. Though the world around him was peaceful, Ravi's mind was anything but. His thoughts were like wild horses, running in every direction. Fear of the future, worries about his failures, and endless distractions left him restless. The quiet of the village only made his inner chaos more unbearable. One day, after another sleepless night spent battling his thoughts, Ravi heard about a monk who lived in a forest monastery nearby. The monk, Bhante, was known for his wisdom on how to control the mind. Driven by desperation, Ravi decided to find him. After hours of walking through dense trees and up winding paths, Ravi reached the monastery. It stood quietly at the heart of the forest, surrounded by the gentle sounds of nature, the wind in the leaves, the distant call of birds, and the steady hum of life. It was a stark contrast to the turmoil that churned within Ravi. He found Bhante sitting beneath a large Bodhi tree, his eyes closed in peaceful meditation. Ravi hesitated for a moment, then approached and bowed deeply. "Bhante," Ravi began, "my mind is like a storm. No matter what I do, my thoughts race uncontrollably. I've come to seek your guidance. How can I control my mind?" The monk opened his eyes and smiled, a soft smile that seemed to hold centuries of wisdom. "Ah, young one," Bhante said gently, "the mind is indeed a wild thing, but to control it is not about force. Come, sit with me." They sat together under the shade of the tree, the air still and calming. "Ravi," Bhante began, "the Buddha teaches us that the mind is like a restless monkey, leaping from one thought to another, never staying still. This is called the monkey mind, and it is the root of much of our suffering. But you are not alone in this. All of us face this challenge." Ravi listened intently, already feeling a small weight lift from his heart. "But Bhante," Ravi asked, "if the mind is always jumping around like this, how can we possibly control it?" The monk chuckled softly. "You misunderstand, Ravi. The goal is not to stop the mind from jumping. It is to observe it without being pulled by it. Like watching a river flow, you don't try to stop the water. You simply let it pass by." Bhante picked up a smooth pebble from the ground and placed it in Ravi's hand. "Squeeze this pebble as hard as you can," the monk instructed. Ravi obeyed, gripping the stone tightly. "What do you feel?" Bhante asked. "Tension," Ravi said. "My hand is growing tired." "Now let go," the monk said. Ravi opened his hand, letting the pebble rest on his palm. "And now?" "It's light," Ravi answered. "There's no tension." Bhante smiled. "This is how we treat our thoughts, young one. When you hold on to them, when you cling to your worries, your fears, they create tension and suffering. But when you release them, when you allow them to be, they become as light as that pebble in your palm." Ravi stared at the pebble, feeling something click in his mind. "So it's not about fighting my thoughts," he said slowly, "but about letting them come and go?" "Exactly," Bhante said. "This practice is called mindfulness. You don't suppress your thoughts, nor do you follow them. You simply observe them, like clouds passing through the sky. The sky remains untouched, no matter how many clouds appear. Your mind is the same. It is vast and peaceful underneath the storm of thoughts." Ravi leaned forward. "But what about the painful thoughts? The ones that make you feel fear or regret? How do I deal with those?" "Painful thoughts will come," Bhante said softly, his tone deepening. "But remember, suffering is part of life. The Buddha taught this in the first noble truth. Running from pain only strengthens it. Instead, when painful thoughts arise, don't run or resist. Greet them with compassion. Sit with them as you would with a friend in need. Over time, you'll see that these thoughts are like passing visitors. They come, but they don't stay." The monk paused, watching Ravi closely. "Understand this. Your thoughts are not you. They are just passing clouds. You are the sky, the stillness underneath. When you can see this, your mind will begin to calm." Ravi sat in silence, the monk's words sinking into his heart. For the first time, he felt a flicker of hope. "But Bhante," Ravi said after a moment. It sounds so simple yet so difficult. How do I even begin? Start small, the monk advised. Each day, sit in stillness for a few minutes. Focus on your breath, and when your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the breath. With time and patience, you will see that your thoughts are like ripples on the surface of a pond. They come and go, but beneath there is calm. Bhante Siddha's voice softened, a serene warmth to his words. The path to mastering the mind is not one of struggle, but one of practice. It is a journey, not a destination. And remember, you will not be perfect, nor do you need to be. Be kind to yourself as you walk this path. Ravi bowed deeply, gratitude swelling within him. Thank you, Bhante, he said, his voice soft, but filled with conviction. I will start today. And so, Ravi returned to his village. Each morning, he sat by the river, practicing the mindfulness that Bhante Siddha had taught him. His thoughts still came, sometimes racing, sometimes painful, but Ravi no longer fought them. He watched them pass, like clouds in the sky or pebbles on his palm. Over time, the storm in his mind began to quiet, and Ravi discovered something he had never known before, an inner peace that had been there all along, waiting for him to notice. Through the teachings of the Buddha, Ravi learned that controlling the mind wasn't about force or resistance, but about understanding, patience, and letting go. The wild horses of his thoughts slowed, and Ravi found the calm he had always been searching for, not in the world outside, but within himself.